यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीर वनचारी यमुना तीर वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. जन वल्लभ गिरिवर धारी यशोदनंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Jaya Gandharvika Giridhari Gandharva Hare, Gandharvika Giridhare Gaura Hare. Jai Nitai Gaur Sundar, Jai Nitai Gaur Sundar, Nitai Gaur Sundar, Jai Nitai Gaur Sundar. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada. धर्म हरिनाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय। श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। 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 नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया। भगवत्य उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। Reading from Canto 5, titled The Creative Impetus. Chapter 3, titled Rishabdeva's Appearance. Text number 14. So I will just recite this verse, then we'll go forward to word meanings. Ko va ihate parijato pari parajitaya mayaya navisita pada vyanavrita matir vishaya visharaya navrita prakritir anupasita mahacharanaha. What word meanings? Kahva, who is that person? Iha, within this material world. Te, of your lordship. Aparajitaha, not conquered. Aparajitaya, by the unconquerable. Mayaya, illusory energy. Anavasita padavya, whose path cannot be ascertained. Anavritamatihi, whose intelligence is not bewildered. Vishaya visha, of material enjoyment, which is like poison. Raya, by the course. Anavrita, not covered. Prakritihi, whose nature. Anupasita, without worshipping. Mahacharanaha, the lotus feet of great devotees. Translation and purport. By His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. Dear Lord, unless one worships the lotus feet of great devotees, one will be conquered by the illusory energy and his intelligence will be bewildered. Indeed, who has not been carried away by the waves of material enjoyment, which are like poison? Your illusory energy is unconquerable. No one can see the path of this material energy and tell how it is working. Purport. Maharaj Nabhi was inclined to performing great sacrifices for begetting a son. The son might be as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but such a material desire, be it great or insignificant, is brought about by the influence of Maya. A devotee does not at all desire anything for sense gratification. Devotion is therefore explained to be devoid of material desires. Anyabhilashita shunya. Everyone is subjected to the influence of Maya and entangled in all kinds of material desire. And Maharaj Nabhi was no exception. Freedom from Maya's influence is possible when one engages in the service of great devotees. Mahaj Charana Seva. Without worshipping the lotus feet of a great devotee, one cannot be freed from Maya's influence. Srila Narottam Das Thakur therefore says, Chhadiya Vaishnava Seva Nistar Payeche Keba. Who has been freed from Maya's clutches without serving the lotus feet of a Vaishnava? Maya is aparajita, and her influence is also aparajita, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 7.14. Daivi hiyesha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya. This divine energy of mind, consisting the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome. Only a devotee can surpass Maya's great influence. It was no fault on Maharaj Nabhi's part that he wanted a son. I repeat, it was no fault on Maharaj Nabhi's part that he wanted a son. He wanted a son like Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the best of all sons. By the association of Lord's devotee, one no longer desires material opulence. This is confirmed in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Sadhu Sangha Sarva Shastra Kaye Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha Sarva Siddhi Hai. This was Madhya Leela 22.54. This and the next is a previous verse 22.51. Mahat Kripa Vina Kona Karme Bhakti Naya Krishna Bhakti Dure Rahu Samsara Nahe Kshaya. If one is serious about escaping Maya's influence and returning home back to Godhead, one must associate with a sadhu, devotee. That is the verdict of all scriptures. By slight association of a devotee, one can be freed from the clutches of Maya. Without the mercy of the pure devotee, one cannot get freedom by any means. Certainly, a pure devotee's association is necessary in order to obtain the loving service of the Lord. One cannot be freed from Maya's clutches without sadhu sangha, the benediction of a great devotee. In Srimad Bhagavatam 7.5.32, Prahlad Maharaj says, Naisham matis tavad urukramangrim sparshatya anarthapagamo yad arthaha mahi yasham padarajobhishekam nishkinchananam na vranita yavat. One cannot be freed, one cannot become the Lord's pure devotee without taking the dust of a great devotee on his head. Pad Rajo Bhishekam. A pure devotee is Nishkinchana. He has no material desire to enjoy the material world. One has to take shelter of such a pure devotee in order to attain his qualities. The pure devotee is always free from the clutches of Maya and her influence. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साधुवैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपा तमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानंद माधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरं। हरि ओम तत्सत्। Hare Krishna. Dear Lord, unless one worships the lotus feet of great devotees, one will be conquered by the illusory energy and his intelligence will be bewildered. Indeed, who has not been carried away by the waves of material enjoyment which are like poison? Your illusory energy is unconquerable. No one can see the path of this material energy and tell how it is working. So welcome everybody to this Saturday morning class of Srimad Bhagavatam. We are reading how Maharaj Rishabdev appears in this world. Till now we have been seeing this is the sacrificial arena of Maharaj Nabhi, where he has engaged various ritviks to do some sacrificial performances with a desire to please the Lord so that he may get a son. And the desire is that I should get Maharaj Nabhi, he wanted a son to be like the Supreme Lord. So in the previous verse, if you read the text number 13, today we are reading text 14, in text number 13 it was mentioned that this was a very foolish desire of Maharaj Nabhi. The priests are saying, Dear Lord, here is the great King Nabhi, they are sarcastic, whose ultimate goal in life is to have a son like you. See, there is nobody who is like the Lord. There is only one Lord. There cannot be a son like the Lord. Only the Lord can become someone's son. In fact, the Lord corrects also later in the chapter. We'll see the Lord corrects. You wanted to have a son like me, that is not possible. I have no second. I am Advitiya. So I only agree to become your son. So he was a great king whose ultimate goal in life is to have a son like you. And then these priests are telling, Your Lordship, his position, that means Maharaj Nabhi's position, is like a person approaching a very rich man and begging for little grain. Why? Maharaj Nabhi is so desirous of having a son that he is worshipping you for a son. Although you can offer him any exalted position, including elevation to heavenly planets or liberation back home, back to God. So that is the foolishness of Maharaj Navi. Srila Prabhupada often gives an example that sometimes people approach a king and ask for a pinch of ash. That is of no use. Another very famous example which Srila Prabhupada gives, that there is an old lady in the forest. She is so much worried about the cooking in her house that despite her old age, she is coming to the forest to collect woods. And then she is trying to pick the wood on her head and the wood fall down. And in great anxiety and in great desperation, in absolute dire need, she calls out to the Lord. Hey Krishna, hey Govinda, hey Damodar, hey Madhav. Like that she calls out. And seeing the earnest appeal of the lady, the Lord immediately comes there. And then he says, what do you want? The lady says, pick up this bundle of wood and keep it back on my head. Of course, the darshan of the Lord doesn't go in vain. So every cry of the Lord, every time when we make a sincere appeal or a sincere prayer to the Lord, even if we don't want, the Lord gives us benefit by giving us a taste of the lotus feet, of his lotus feet. But still, approaching the Lord and having materialistic desires, it is not condemned like demigod worship. Demigod worship is absolutely condemned. But still, on the absolute platform of pure devotional service, approaching the Lord with a material desire is not considered very wise also. It is not encouraged, not recommended. At one stage, the Bhagavatam says, Akama sarva kamuva moksha kama udharadhi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. So, whether you have no desire or whether you have all desires or whether you are fed up with this material world and want to go back home, back to Godhead, just so that you will no longer get any troubles, in all circumstances, you please do what? Tivrena bhakti yogena, intensify your devotional service. And yajeta purusham param, worship the Supreme Personality of God. So why Tivrena Bhakti Yogena is mentioned? Because when somebody does Tivrena Bhakti Yogena, this Akama, Sarvakama and Mokshakama, everything goes away. Then a person comes on the right platform of Anya Bhilashita Shunyam Gyan Karmadhya Navritam. Anukulena Krishnanushīlanam Bhaktiruttama. They are wanting to do devotional service with a desire to please Krishna, walking in the footsteps of previous acharyas, and trying to do something practical for Krishna. This stage is possible only when somebody does Tivrena Bhakti Yogena. Indirectly, the priests are saying that Maharaj Navi has this desire because he has not sufficiently associated with those devotees of the Lord who do Tivra Bhakti Yoga. Because when one associates with the devotees of the Lord, over a period of time, their desires change. Even if their desires don't change immediately, simply by association with pure devotees of the Lord, their heart changes. Or following the instructions of the pure devotees of the Lord is also association with the pure devotees of the Lord. So in that way also the desires change. For example, Dhruv Maharaj. He got slight association with Narad Muni. And Narad Muni asked him to go to Madhuvan. Initially, because he was not surrendered, there was a very great yoga teacher. I call him great because he was seriously committed to the practice of asanas and pranayam. His name was B.K.S. Iyengar. People used to call him beating, kicking, scolding Iyengar, because he used to scold these students a lot while teaching. So he told once to one of the ISKCON sannyasis that I am from the Ramanuja line. I should have taught pure devotional service to people. But because my students were not surrendered to me, so therefore it was necessary for me to teach them asana and pranayam, hoping that someone will come to the level of bhakti, but no one came. But you, my dear disciple of Srila Prabhupada, you are so glorious. You are directly bringing people to the bhakti yoga. I offer my obeisances to you. So because Dhruv Maharaj at that time was not fully surrendered to the lotus feet of Narad Muni, so Narad Muni ordered him, go to Madhuban, perform asanas and perform this pranayam, do this dhyan yoga, etc., etc. But then later he told that regularly have bath in the Madhuban and make a deity of Lord Krishna with the wood and with the sand and whatever leaves which is available there, and start chanting this mantra. Which mantra was it? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare. Although the verse says Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, but in the purport Srila Prabhupada says he asked him to chant Hare Krishna. That means there is no difference between the two mantras. And because Lord Chaitanya chanted Hare Krishna, so we will chant Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Nam Gaura Karila Prachar. So that is a proof that Lord Chaitanya chanted Hare Krishna. So, because Dhruv Maharaj was not surrendered, so he ordered him to do asanas and pranayam, but ultimately he had to do Tivra Bhakti Yoga. And when he did Tivrena Bhakti Yogena, what happened? When Lord Vishnu appeared in front of Dhruv Maharaj, he said, I was such a great fool. This is the difference between Maharaj Dhruv and Maharaj Nabi. When Dhruv Maharaj is seeing the Lord, he has already come to the conclusion that what I was desiring was a waste of time. Sthana bhilashi tapasi sthitoham tvam praptavan deva muni indra guhyam. With the desire of some great kingdom, I am sitting in tapasya and I am trying to attain you, my Lord, who is very difficult to obtain by Muni, Indra, Deva, everybody. Kachan vichinvan apidivya ratnam. When I have seen you, it appears to me that all the desires which I had were like broken pieces of glasses, and your darshan is the most priceless jewel. Who will take broken pieces of glasses in front of priceless jewel? Swamin kritarthosmi varam nayache. Lord is asking what desire you want. He says, no, I don't want anything. So this is called purification of heart. But Maharaj Nabhi, we will see later, not later, now only. The Lord has appeared in front of him and the priests are petitioning. But still Maharaj Nabhi is like, ek beta degi do. I want a son like you. So this is the proof that he did not do Tivra Bhakti Yoga. And why he did not do Tivra Bhakti Yoga? Because he did not sufficiently associate with the purified devotees of the Lord. So therefore, even in the presence of the Lord, these Ritviks, they are trying to teach Maharaj Nabhi. What they are teaching? By telling the Lord doesn't need to know all this, but Maharaj Nabhi needs to know. So they are telling, dear Lord, unless one worships the lotus feet of great devotees, one will be conquered by illusory energy and his intelligence will be bewildered. So they are telling Maharaj Nabhi, your intelligence is bewildered. And then they are telling it's not your fault also. Indeed, who has not been carried away by the waves of material enjoyment, which are like poison? Your illusory energy is unconquerable. No one can see the path of this material energy and tell how it is working. So, someone would have said, Maharaj Nabhi would have said, see, you are my priests, Rajgurus, you should have told me that I should associate. But then they are saying, no one can see the path of material energy and how it is working. That means we are also a little bit bewildered only. We are not understanding. We are ashamed why we are helping you in such an affair. We should have encouraged you for pure devotional service. But instead we have become your Ritviks and we are helping you to get this material desire. Srila Prabhupada tells in the first line of the purport only, Maharaj Nabhi was inclined to performing great sacrifices for begetting a son. The son might be as good as Krishna, but such a material desire, be it great or insignificant, is brought about by the influence of Maya. First line made it very clear. So this is not a Krishna conscious desire which Maharaj Nabhi had. Any other desire other than to please and serve Guru and Krishna is a product of Maya. That is why we said, Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitite Koriya Aikya Ar na Karihu Mane Asha. Because any other Asha which is not motivated by the desire to please and serve Shri Guru and Shri Krishna is often concocted by on the material platform. So therefore, the theme of this verse is importance of serving or worshipping the lotus feet of devotees. Anupasita Mahacharana. So it is very difficult to get rid of this platform of Maya when somebody has developed the desires. So Chhadiya Vaishnava Seva Nistar Payeche Ke. There is no other way. Other than serving the lotus feet of great devotees, there is no other way. No other way, no other way. So Prabhupada is highlighting in this verse. Sadhus, he is quoting verses from Chaitanya Charitamrita. He's telling, if one is serious about escaping Maya's influence and returning home back to Godhead, one must associate with the sadhu. That is the verdict of all scriptures. By slight association of a sadhu, one can be freed from the clutches of Maya. Without the mercy of a pure devotee, one cannot get freedom by any means. Certainly, a pure devotee's association is necessary in order to obtain loving service to the Lord. That means freedom from Maya is possible. Prabhupada gives an example. If you are staying in this apartment and if you are to be kicked out of this apartment, you need to go and find some other apartment, only then you will be able to leave this apartment. So similarly, right now, the engagement of the conditioned soul is in Maya. So until unless that engagement changes into the engagement of Krishna, loving service of Krishna, it is not possible to come out of the clutches of Maya. And that is only possible when we serve the lotus feet of great devotees. In another line he says, one cannot be freed from Maya's clutches without the benediction of a great devotee. So many points are highlighted. Service to great devotees, benediction to great devotees, taking the dust of the feet of great devotees. Mahesham Padarajobhishekam, that is also being quoted. So the essence of this verse is, one has to associate with great devotees of the Lord. Try to understand their mood, try to imbibe their mood, try to serve them, try to please them, and take the dust of their lotus feet. What does the dust of their lotus feet mean? It can mean various things. It also means taking the dust of the lotus feet of a devotee, actually, physically. However, the most appropriate meaning is, these pure devotees, they are walking a particular path. We have to walk on that path and pick up the dust which is left on that path. Mahajano yena gatah sapantha. These pure devotees have decided to do something. They have a mission. So we have to assist them in that mission. We have to walk in their footsteps, try to relish the activities which they have done, and try to, as much as possible, follow. That is the real meaning of Mahi Asham Padarajobi. Of course, if there is possibility, if some devotee is telling, okay, I am here, you can worship me, you can do Pada Abhishekam for me, go ahead, do that. But in essence, this means that I am ready to follow each and every instruction of that devotee whose dust I am taking. In a sense, this means that I want to make the same endeavor which he has made to serve his Guru. And while serving his Guru, the path which he has walked, I have to walk on that path. Mahajano yenagata sapantha. That is the most appropriate meaning of Mahi Yasham Padarajobhishekam. Now, in this purport, Srila Prabhupada is bringing in some aspects. I just wanted to connect some of Srila Prabhupada's purports and establish the seriousness of why Prabhupada has brought in concepts like aparajita. He is telling that the material illusory energy of the Lord is aparajita. She cannot be defeated. Devi hiyesha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead has innumerable energies. And all these energies are divine. Devi hiyesha. And the particular energy which we are referring to here is gunamayi also. It has various modes of material nature also. Now we are also the energy of Krishna, and this Maya Shakti is also energy of Krishna. However, we have become covered, or rather, let me speak about myself. A conditioned living entity has become covered by this Maya Shakti, because of which they have forgotten their eternal constitutional position, that is, being a loving servant of the Lord. Now, it is very difficult to overcome the influence of any energy of the Lord without the will of the Lord. So, therefore, one may say that spirit soul is superior to the material energy. So, it should not be covered. But Srila Prabhupada explains in his purports that although the spirit soul is superior to the material energy, still it has become conditioned and bewildered by the material energy, because behind the material energy is the supreme energetic Krishna, and by whose will this material energy is functioning. Therefore, the spirit soul has become Nitya Baddha. Point to be noted, the Bhagavad Gita talks about Ishvara, Prakriti, Jiva, Kala and Karma. The Prakriti is also eternal, Jiva is also eternal. So the influence of Maya is also eternal, and the tendency of the Jiva to remain under the influence of Maya is also eternal. Hence the name Nitya Baddha. Srila Prabhupada tells in his Bhagavad Gita purpose that no one can trace out the point where one became conditioned, when one became conditioned. It's not possible. Generally, when the universe is created, the time is created. But there are several annihilations and creations of universes have happened, and we have been still in the material world. So we have been here since a time when time did not exist. So therefore the name Nitya Baddha. So that is how Prabhupada is very nicely arguing in his purports. It is very, very difficult. But then he pays attention to the fact of Gunamayi. Devi hi esha Gunamayi. The word guna means modes of material nature. The word guna also means ropes. So right now a conditioned living entity is tied up by the ropes of the energy of Krishna. Only a person who is not tied by these ropes and who is blessed by Krishna can come and open these ropes for us. So that is why Chhadiya Vaishnav Seva Nistar Paye Cheke. Only a pure devotee of the Lord, only a Vaishnav is blessed by Krishna. Only a Vaishnav or a pure devotee of the Lord is above the modes of material nature. Only a Vaishnav has no material desires, because of which they will be engulfed by Maya. And only by such association can we be freed from this aparajita Shakti of the Lord. Devi hi esha gunamahi mama maya duratyaya. This is one analysis which I was thinking. So therefore, Mam eva ye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. Anybody who approaches me and takes shelter of me, they will easily overcome Maya. So how to approach Krishna? Krishna is very difficult to approach. We can't approach Krishna. So therefore, acharyas are there. The devotees of Krishna are very easy to approach. Imagine you are distributing some books and someone comes to your book table on their own and says, "Can I get one Bhagavad Gita?" Will you say, "Oh, I am a devotee of Krishna. Krishna is difficult to approach. I am also difficult to approach. Please get lost." No, you'll be happy. Ah, wow, ye lo, ye bhi dekho, wo bhi dekho. See this also, see that also. I will deliver to your house only. Don't worry. Yesterday one person came and he said, "I want Uriya Bhagavatam." I said, "Very nice." No, not Uriya. Telugu Bhagavatam. I said, "Very nice." So, but see, I am carrying some vegetables. I can't take it. Immediately I said, "I will only come." And then immediately I was thinking, how wonderful are the devotees of the Lord who are going to any extent to help people who need help in this material world. So therefore, these devotees of the Lord, they are very much approachable in all circumstances. Take the example of Srila Prabhupada. No matter how busy his schedule was, anybody who would come, he would give time. There were so many people who were actually irritating. And everybody would agree that this person is definitely going to waste Srila Prabhupada's time. But Srila Prabhupada was like, All right, let them come in. So he used to spend time, talk to them, meet them. There was a specific time in the afternoon where he would say that at this point of time I am only giving darshan. So he would ask his personal secretaries to see personal service. Is there anybody outside waiting? And then whenever they would go, somebody would be waiting, and Prabhupada would meet them, talk to them, discuss with them, encourage them. And those conversations, they have become priceless jewels now. If you read those conversations, you'll come to know how much approachable Srila Prabhupada was. So that is the importance of doing Vaishnav Seva. In fact, the right word here is Acharya Upasana. Chadiya Vaishnav Seva means doing Acharya Upasana. I was looking for some statements related to this, how Srila Prabhupada has made it very clear. In the 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada says that one should execute devotional service and advance on the path of spiritual knowledge by accepting the Acharya. This is called Acharya Upasanam. One should worship an Acharya, a spiritual master who knows things as they are, Tattvadarshi. The spiritual master must be in disciplic succession from Krishna. The predecessors of the spiritual master are his spiritual master and his grand spiritual master and his great grand spiritual master and so on, who form the disciplic succession of the Acharyas. Don't follow fools and rascals. Then everything will be useless waste of time. Follow the great Acharyas. Acharyavan Purusho Veda. One who is Acharyavan, one who has accepted an Acharya, he knows. Serve them, worship them. This is from a lecture, Calcutta, September 27, 1974. So Acharya Upasana is the way. Yasya prasadat bhagavad prasado yasya prasadan nagati kutopi. When they are pleased with us, all our spiritual desires will be fulfilled. When they are not pleased with us, it's very difficult to progress on the path of bhakti. And progress on the path of bhakti means getting freedom from the clutches of Maya. When you serve great devotees, you feel relief from Maya. The more you feel relief from Maya, the more you understand I am not the body, I am a spirit soul. And the more you understand that I am a spirit soul, the more you want to serve Krishna. And the more you want to serve Krishna, the more you want to do Acharya Upasana. And the more you want to do Acharya Upasana, the better devotee you become. That is the goal of life. So, Acharya Upasana is very, very important. What will happen if we do Acharya Upasana? I would like to connect some more purports. So, when we do Acharya Upasana, by the benediction of the Acharya, by walking on the same path which the Acharya has walked, or by taking in the dust of the footsteps of the Acharya, we become a devotee. And then what happens when we become a devotee? The Bhagavad Gita says, Mahatmanastam mam partha, daivim prakritim ashritah, bhajantya ananya manaso, gyatva bhutadim avyayam. O son of Pritha, those who are not deluded, the great souls are under the protection of the divine nature. So in Bhagavad Gita 7.14, when Krishna says, Daivi hi esha gunamayi, this Daivi is the Prakriti. But in this verse, when Krishna says, Daivim Prakritim Ashrita, this Daivim is not the Prakriti. This Daivim is who? Srimati Radharani. So, by doing Acharya Upasana or by serving the lotus feet of devotees of Krishna, we get the shelter of Srimati Radharani. And then what happens? They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada writes in that purport, to end unwanted miseries of life and the influence of Maya, one must become a devotee. So when we serve a great devotee, we become a devotee. So in order to come out of Maya, we have to become a devotee first. And then when we become a devotee, yasyasti bhaktir bhagavati akinchana sarvair gunais tatra samasate suraha. All great qualities of Krishna will start manifesting in us. And that will make us instrument in the mission of Krishna, in the mission of Acharyas. And then if we continue on this path, Srila Prabhupada says, Yasya deve parabhaktir yatha deve tatha gurau tasyaite kathita hyartha prakashante mahatmana. If we continue serving the lotus feet of Vaishnavas, doing Acharya Upasana, then we will develop implicit faith in both Krishna and the Acharya. As a result of this implicit faith, all the imports of Vedic knowledge will be automatically revealed to us. And therefore, we will be able to overcome Maya. So that is the theoretical analysis of why it is very important to do Acharya Upasana. So therefore, they are saying that until one worships the lotus feet of great devotees, one will be conquered by the illusory energy of the Lord and intelligence will be bewildered. How did Arjuna get freedom when his intelligence was bewildered? He took shelter of an Acharya, Krishna. And by the mercy of Krishna, by the blessings of Krishna, he became freed. Similarly, when we take shelter of Acharyas, by the mercy of Acharyas, by the prayers of the Acharyas, by the blessings of the Acharyas, we will also not be bewildered. There are so many instances, you go and hear the various Prabhupada memories. So many devotees are saying that this purport of Srila Prabhupada has saved me many times. This activity of Srila Prabhupada has saved me many times. Srila Prabhupada saved me. Srila Prabhupada saved me. Like that they keep saying. So, the theme of today's verse is to do worship Anupasita Mahat Charanaha. Means worship the lotus feet of devotees. Try to walk in their footsteps, collecting the dust of their foot. Acharya Upasana is the theme of today's worship. Acharya Upasana means pleasing the Acharyas. It is very, very important. So one of the best ways to please the Acharya is to listen what they have said and do what they want us to do. This takes me to the 7 purposes of ISKCON. There are 7 purposes of ISKCON, all of us know that, and all of them are very, very important, equally important. Not that one is more important and one is less important. These 7 purposes are equally important. But Srila Prabhupada has written the first 6 purposes, and in the 7th purpose he writes, with a view towards achieving the above 6 mentioned purposes, we have to publish, distribute periodicals, magazines, books and other writings. This is called book distribution. So doing book distribution is Acharya Upasana. How many of you want to be freed from the clutches of Maya? Some people are not raising their hands. It means that they are regularly doing book distribution and they are freed from the clutches of Maya. So we need to take your shelter. All those who didn't raise your hands. So, practical way. Anukulena Krishnanushilanam Bhaktiruttama. We have to try to serve Krishna with a desire to please Krishna. How do we know what pleases Krishna? It is very difficult to understand Krishna. And without understanding Krishna, it is impossible to love him. And when we don't love someone, we cannot understand their heart and mind. But when we have acharyas, irrespective of the unlimited anarthas and the wicked nature in the core of my heart, which is 10,000 times worse than what Maharaj Nabhi is desiring, still I can have a plan to please Krishna. Why? Because I have a message from the acharyas that this book distribution is very, very dear to Krishna. Pure devotional service is guaranteed to those people who do book distribution. That is how do I know this? I know this from Srila Prabhupada, from the acharyas. And Srila Prabhupada is again told, not just it is not that it just pleases Krishna, it pleases me also. If you want to please me, then do what? Read and distribute my books. So many times he has told. So, we should do this activity very, very sincerely, seriously, with a grateful heart. Srila Prabhupada would always say that success in spiritual life is dependent on the pleasure of predecessor acharyas. He was humble. He was acting humble to say that. He is the founder acharya of ISKCON. All the four sampradayas accept him as the present acharya. But still he is saying that predecessor acharyas. And even if we see towards the predecessor acharyas, all of them wanted to publish and distribute books. Srila Prabhupada would say that this world is moving towards a suicidal course. Everybody is going to commit spiritual suicide. But these books are going to save them. Human beings love books. But 99.9% of the times, they are served with useless crap material. So it is our responsibility that we have to go to them and distribute these books and give it to them. This will change the fate and face of this planet. This is just the beginning of massive book distribution. Very soon a time will come where these books will flood the whole planet. So it is our job to increase this book distribution as many number of times as possible. This is called Acharya Upasana. So in today's discussion, I would just like to end today's discussion with few tips which I have learned from my seniors who are very good at this particular section of Acharya Upasana, that is book distribution. So some tips which can help us to do sincere, serious and grateful Acharya Upasana in the form of book distribution. Number 1, regularly go out. Stop thinking, start doing. Some people plan tomorrow I'll go. No, day after tomorrow I'll go. ठीक है, everybody else is going. They are so qualified. What is the need for me to go? This is not good. If all of us have a unique relationship with Krishna, and if all of us have a desire to go back home, back to Godhead, then this should be a part of that desire, that I should every day go and touch the pavement and come. One of the obstacles in going out for book distribution is the peer pressure. Other book distributors are distributing so many books. I will not be able to distribute one also. So my depth and my purity of Krishna consciousness will be revealed. So let me stay back in my home and do some other missionary work. No, the goal here is, Srila Prabhupada has told in his letters, some of you are distributing more books, some of you are distributing less books. All of you have my mercy. Like that he has told. He is not saying, okay, the one who has distributed 500 books, do Father or Jo bhi shekhe mukmai. And those who have distributed 5 books, meet me tomorrow. He never says like that. So therefore the goal should be to touch the pavement. Just go out, find a spot, touch it and come back. Do this for a few days, something will happen. But prayer is very important. We have to pray to Srila Prabhupada that please take me to a person who would be ready to receive your book. You have to pray that make me your instrument. So this prayer is very, very important. Srila Prabhupada said that the secret of advancement, he gave many secrets. Another secret which he gave, that the secret of advancement is to keep praying while you are rendering devotional service, especially chanting and book distribution. So when we keep praying that you please help me, please take me to a person who will take the books, then automatically you will see that you will just find a person. Either he comes to your table directly, or and then you go and bump into him, and then he will, I was looking for this book. I'll tell you one recent example. It happened yesterday with me. I was just roaming around with a Bhagavad Gita and Krishna book in my hand. And it had been around 5 minutes, and I was just roaming around asking people. They were like, hey, nay, no, get lost. And then there was one person who was looking at me, and I was also looking at him. But he was smoking. So I was avoiding. But I was thinking, should I go? Should I not go? Should I go? Should I not go? He was looking at me. Probably he was also thinking the same. Should I go? Should I not go? So what I did, 3 times I went in that area. And 3 times I looked at him and passed by. And then he also looked at me 3 times and passed by. And 4th time I was going towards somebody else, but he only called me. Hare Krishna. He told me Hare Krishna. So that was my least expectation, that a person smoking in a corner, not in front of a beetle shop or something. He took the cigarette and went in a corner and he was smoking. And he told me, Hare Krishna, I want that Bhagavad Gita. So immediately I was thinking to come to you, but I was a little hesitant. So he said, I was also hesitant. How much is this book for? Same dialogue. We don't sell it. You can give whatever you want. Just give some heartfelt donation so that we can print more and distribute more. Immediately he took out 500 rupees. Then I said, since you are giving me a little bit extra, I would like to give you another book. Have you seen this Krishna book? No. This book contains all the pastimes of Krishna. The Bhagavad Gita tells you how great Krishna is, but this Krishna book tells you how sweet Krishna is. Would you like to take it? Yes, I will take. But this, you have to give 50 rupees more. No problem, take. Another 200 rupees. Another SSR and another small book. So the point is, I was not doing something great. I was just roaming around, touching the pavement. But we realized that we are instruments. I didn't do anything. He didn't do anything. Paramatma did everything between both of us. Paramatma was telling, जाके बात करो उससे. Paramatma, I was also thinking I should talk. So it is Krishna who is the hero of all stories of book distribution. Or any form of devotional service, the real hero is Krishna. So this is one of the principles. Touch the pavement. Just somehow go out. Somehow. Second principle is have the right mood. When we go out for book distribution, it is not for money. It is definitely not for scores. Of course, there is a transcendental competition, but not for scores. But the real mood for book distribution is that when I do book distribution, I grow as a devotee. So that is my mood. In order to grow as a devotee, it is my seva to go out. And it's a lot of fun when we go out, when we get such experiences. My spiritual master tells that book distribution is the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. How many of you want to be a part of the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya? No. They say that when you get liberated, go back home, next life you will do apprentice. This life only you can do by doing this kind of services. Book distribution is very humbling because it compels you to treat everybody with respect. You have to leave a good impression always. Many times we feel like after talking 5 minutes, नहीं लिया. जाते जाते कुछ बोल, something I should say. ये ले. But that will not help us. Still, no matter how much we are frustrated, we have to leave them with a good impression. Another very important principle of preaching in general, what to speak of book distribution, preaching in general, is practice reflective listening. When you are listening to them, actually listen to them. Whatever they are saying, we have to listen. And then we have to be reflecting on what they are listening. Connected to Krishna consciousness in the way they want to hear, and somehow are able, yena kena prakarena, connect them to Krishna consciousness. When we do this reflective listening, we mature as a devotee. We understand how much more service needs to be done. We understand how merciful Krishna is. We understand how merciful Srila Prabhupada was. And then next time when we read the purports of Srila Prabhupada or hear his lectures, we actually are able to perceive what they really mean. This is called reflective listening. It is only possible. See, most of us, we are overwhelmed by the problems of our own life. But when we do reflective listening, we understand that our problems are very tiny. And there are people in this world who have greater problems. And for them, I need to chant Hare Krishna, I need to read Srila Prabhupada books, and I need to go out and do this Acharya Pasana. Another very important principle, there are many principles, but another very important principle is pick the ripe fruits. You will easily come to know who is a good candidate and who is not a good candidate simply in the first 30 seconds. Acharyopasana is not a way of sense gratification where you are trying to satisfy your ego. Nobody listens to me in the temple. Now I'm outside the temple. सबको अपनी बात सुना के रहूँगा मैं. This is not the way. So therefore, one of the important principles of book distribution is to don't talk with anybody for more than 3 minutes. In the 3 minutes, first 3 minutes, you will come to know whether this person is a ripe fruit or not. And we are not qualified to immediately ripen a raw fruit and give them. Just like somebody puts a knife, like give them a Krishna book like this or a Bhagavad Gita. No, that is not possible for us. We are there to only pluck the ripe fruits. So wait, instead of talking for 30 minutes to a person and distributing one Bhagavad Gita, it is better to touch more people and distribute more Bhagavad Gitas. These are some of the ways in which we can intensify our own Krishna consciousness. Another very important aspect of Acharya Upasanam, especially in this age of Sankirtan, is to make sure that everybody feels involved. Whatever activity we do, whether it is Guru Puja or whether it is book distribution, we have to make sure that everybody is doing their bit and we have to appreciate everybody doing their bit. No one should think that I am a very big book distributor and wherever I go, books will flow like water. Please think like this. Next evening only something will happen. You'll realize that this is not what Krishna wants. Krishna wants that everybody should be doing their bit. And everybody should be appreciated while doing their bit. Now, some people say, I can't do book distribution. Okay, don't do book, just sit at the table. Calculate the accounts. Okay, I don't want to do accounts also. No problem. Just carry these laddus, give it to anybody who takes the books. Oh, I don't want to do that. Okay, take the temple card. I don't want to do that also. Okay, manage the transportation. I don't want to do that also. Okay, pack the books. So in this way, somehow or the other, everybody should feel engaged. Real success in book distribution means devotees feeling spiritually nourished by doing the activity of book distribution, which is only possible when we appreciate each and every devotee for whatever they have done. This is called Sankirtan. Acharya Upasana teaches us. Anybody who is not cooperative cannot be successful in Acharya Upasana. Anybody who is not appreciative of the smallest of endeavors cannot be freed from Maya, because they are not successful in Acharya Upasana. And when they do this Acharya Upasana in a cooperative spirit, that is called Sankirtan, and that Sankirtan is the spiritual oxygen which will make them survive in this ocean of birth and death. Because you need to breathe, right? But you are in an ocean of birth and death, so you need some oxygen. So cooperative Acharya Upasana is the spiritual oxygen which is needed in our lives. And then Srila Prabhupada has made it very clear that to achieve the above 6 mentioned purposes of ISKCON, book distribution is very, very important. So therefore, I would like to request everybody, just to summarize, we can't help having foolish desires. And if we have some foolish desires, the only hope or the only scope is to go to Krishna. That's what Maharaj Nabhi did. Therefore, Prabhupada says that we don't blame Maharaj Nabhi for having such a material desire. However, Srila Prabhupada also explains that Maharaj Nabhi had such a desire because he had not sufficiently associated with pure devotees of the Lord. So our goal of life should be to associate with pure devotees. Association means to serve, and to serve means to please. I repeat, association means to serve, and to serve means to please. We should not aspire to become great devotees. We should aspire to become servants of great devotees. That is the principle. And then we have to try to come out of this entanglement of Maya by understanding the nature of Maya. Devi hi esha gunamahi mama Maya duratyaya. We have to understand that this Maya is eternal. I am also eternal. I am a nitya baddha. It is not possible for me to come out until I surrender to Krishna, but Krishna is unapproachable for me. Therefore, I have to surrender to the Acharyas, and the easiest way to do that is to do Acharya Upasana. One has to be philosophically convinced that how, when I take shelter of the Acharyas, I get the shelter of Srimati Radharani, and how I start developing all good qualities like Krishna, and how by having implicit faith in the instructions of Guru and Krishna, Acharyas and Krishna, I understand the entire import of the Vedic literature. Then nobody can bewilder me. Acharya Upasana means doing something which the Acharyas like, and book distribution is one of the best ways. We should touch the pavement every day. We should have a purified desire while doing book distribution. We should practice reflective listening. We should pluck the right fruits, and we should be very, very eager to appreciate others, cooperate with others, and get the spiritual oxygen which is necessary for us to daily chant sincerely and seriously Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. What should we do now? Wrap up. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की गौर भक्त